They are the heroes on the front lines of the fight against COVID-19 in our city, leaving their families behind to take care of ours. In our Frontline Diary segment today, we connect with Julie Renaud, the Radiation Medicine Program Manager at the Ottawa Hospital Cancer Centre. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Julie.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking at these numbers here. 5,000 patients a year depend on your care for radiation. These are people fighting cancer. So when the pandemic hit, you knew in that moment, I assume, that you couldn't let them down.
That's right. We are the only provider of radiation therapy services in the Greater Ottawa area. So if you need to have radiation therapy as part of your cancer treatment, we are it. And we are a very, very specialized team, and not everybody can do what we do. So when the pandemic hit, as you said, as much as we were worried about COVID, we were also worried about maintaining that crucial services for our patients.
So what did you do to be able to manage that?
Very uncomfortable plans that we were making with assumptions that we may have to downsize our operations and prioritize some patients over others because we may not have the staff to run our machines, for example. So we really had to leverage all of the evidence that was out there from the scientific community to understand what type of patients would absolutely need radiation first and foremost if we were in a situation where we couldn't give it to all the patients, and focus on maintaining that core infrastructure that we need to provide these treatments.
Did you at any point have to go into that type of protocol where you had to triage, if you will, those who needed it more now versus those who could wait?
You know, we were lucky enough that we had all of this on paper, but we never had to pull the trigger when it came to prioritization of patients. So throughout the pandemic, our activities decreased just because the patients were not necessarily getting referred to the cancer center, which is a whole other worry on its own, right? But that kind of slowdown allowed us to maintain access to all the patients who needed treatment.
Are these the lessons that you learned through SARS when we had to go through that?
SARS, I think, provided us with a good drill. I was a radiation therapist when SARS hit, and I remember all of these plans having to be put in place. But again, through SARS, we never had to downscale our operations. We are a people and professional arrangement, right? So for us, it's not about drugs. Like, for example, chemotherapy is, for us, it's about the core specialized people like the radiation therapists, the nurses, the clerical staff, the technical staff who maintain our equipment. So those, our people, it means everything to our service. So we had to really, really focus on making sure that they had the protection they needed to do their work and to try and make our environment as conducive to this kind of new way of doing business for them so they could safely provide that radiation treatment as part of their day-to-day interactions with the patients.
And how are things going today? Do you find most patients feel comfortable going in there to the center to get radiation, or are you seeing some that are hesitant and stay home and don't go through with their treatment?
You know, that's a really good question. We've seen in the spring a lot of questions that the patients were rightfully asking, you know, like, am I really going to commit to come in every day for treatment? Because radiation treatment are usually given every day of the week for up to 5, 6, 7 weeks, depending on what kind of cancer we're treating. So some patients had that conversation with their physicians to say, is it safe for me to wait? Is it safe for me to, or is it safer for me to go ahead despite all the risks?
Yeah.
Right now, I feel that with the summer, we felt kind of a respite, but with schools opening, I think we're going to get more of these questions and concerns back from our patients. I do have to say, though, that the cancer center and the hospitals as communities have really implemented quickly protocols to try to stay one step ahead of exposures by screening patients on the phone before they came in to visit. And that allowed us to, if they were experiencing any symptoms, to account for that and make sure that our staff was wearing the proper protective equipment to handle these patients and offering them a test as well before they got into their cancer treatment stage. So we took a lot of precautions before, during, and after any type of interactions that they had with the hospital to make it as safe as possible.
Wow, Julie, I mean, the work you are doing there is second to none. We're a community lucky to have people like you on the front line. Julie Renaud, the manager at the Radiation Medicine Program at the Ottawa Hospital Cancer Centre. Thank you so much for everything you are doing for us.
Thank you very much.